this episode was much better than the previous episode of Welcome to the Ballroom. Because last week's episode, as I stated, there were so many still frames. With this episode, there is some still frames, but it's much better. Because of the directing of the episode, to the music, to the art, and even the sequence when they were dancing. You see this like zoom in when you see all the dancers rotating and stuff. There was some good scenes throughout this episode. So I feel like it seems like Welcome to the Ballroom is back on track. After everything that's been going on for the recent episodes, how it's slowly kind of like dipped a little bit, it seems like Welcome to the Ballroom has kindly tried to lift itself up and get back into where it once was when the series first started. So I will say overall, this is actually probably one of my favorite episodes of Welcome to the Ballroom. I'm not even gonna lie, it actually is one of my favorites. And the reason for it is because of the outcome and the message and what this means for Fujita as a character. So, overall, the objective of this arc was for Mako to pair back up with her brother. And that was the main objective. That was the goal of this arc. It was never for Fujita technically to win and be better than, Gaju, Mako's brother, but actually just to win and have it to where Mako was better than Shizuku. And in the end result, he managed to prove that. I'll get into those details in a minute. But overall, he got what he wanted to do. He achieved what he wanted. And in that way, he got, the in-game result. He got, what he wanted. However, even with all of that, though, he still failed, which sets a really nice message for the series. Let me explain why. Fujita is a new dancer. He is a beginner. He is someone that, obviously, throughout this arc, we have seen a lot of his flaws. He doesn't have good endurance. He doesn't really know how to dance properly at all. He has fun, which is a good thing. You need that if you're going to be doing something like dancing. You need to have fun. Or for anything, actually, you need to be having fun. But he has fun, but he's poor at dancing, and he lacks endurance and stamina, and he really doesn't know, like, the meaning of what it means to lead, or, help out, the support or the partner, and you can see throughout, the dance that he is not really that good, which makes a lot of sense. He's a newbie. He's a beginner when it comes to dancing. I mean, you gotta look at all of these characters, okay? As we know from flashbacks, Mako and her brother, they've been dancing since they were kids. It's been many years. They've been dancing for a very long time, practicing and all that, being in competitions. So we know for a fact that Mako and her brother, they have many years of experience. And when you look at Fujita, he has like a couple months under his belt. Really not that long at all. So when you, in the grand scheme of things, it's obvious why Fujita is not that good. Actually, it's very impressive that he was able to even make it that far where he was at in this competition. To even make it into the finals was something just extremely impressive. And that's what really was shocking about all of this. And so there was a really good message here. Number one, Fujita has a lot to work on, and that's what this arc was really trying to nail in for all of us watching it, that he needs to improve a lot, because he is not a good dancer. He has a lot of potential, he's skilled, and he's definitely shown that he can be an incredible dancer in the future. Just give him a few years, he'll be insanely good. But for right now, he is not that good. He is at a beginner level, and he needs a lot of training, he needs a lot of work to be able to reach that level, which makes a lot of sense. Anybody that is really good for anything in the world, they have to start from somewhere. They have to start from the beginning. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, when you think about, professional sports players, baseball, football, or whatever, basketball players, they had to start from zero as well. They weren't good at it when they first started, unless they were extremely talented, but they weren't, 10 out of 10 quality status soon as they started doing something. They had to put a lot of time and effort in just to improve themselves. And that's kind of what this is showing here, that he needs more experience, he needs more time to be able to prove himself that he is a really good dancer. So he lost. And that makes me very happy, because if you would have walked into this competition, and if you would have won against Gaju, I actually would have said, that's kind of messed up. That's kind of poor writing in a way. I would think that, because I know he's supposed to win, technically, or Mako is supposed to win, for she could be back with her brother, and it's also very certain now, since we found out, or I was told, basically, that there's another girl that's going to be his main partner, so it's obvious that something is going to happen with Mako, and either she was going to lose, and the brother was going to take her back regardless, because of how she was just shining in that one dance, or she won. It was going to be either or, I expected one of those two to happen, but in the end, she won, and you had to where Fujita technically still lost, which makes me happy, because he didn't win against him. At the end results, when you look at the competition, he got crushed. He was in last place. But, if we look at it from another angle, he won, too. It was a very small victory, but he won, too. He made it to the finals. And he's really bad. And he's a really bad dancer. But he managed to make it to the finale, which is saying something. It's kind of like saying you're a newbie. You have barely any experience, like on playing like a game or something. Like, let's just say you're a professional gamer and you're getting paid to play games or whatever. And let's say you're new. You just started playing this game like maybe 6 months ago, and then you go into the professionals, and you do really well. I mean, you're not as good as everybody else, but I mean, you do well, and you make it into the finale of, you know, the competition. That's very impressive. For your first time, and for your first time actually dealing with all the stress, pressure, the endurance, and learning how to dance while the crowd is watching you, it's definitely a heavy weight on your shoulders. And he proved himself by even making it into the finale. He won. Even though he lost, but he still won in a way, because it shows that he is really good and he has a lot of potential. Now, if we look at Mako, she won thanks to her talent, but also thanks to Fujita. What she did was not possible without Fujita. And let me explain why. As we know, a couple episodes back, when we had that episode that focused on Mako, and she looked like a shining flower and all that, and, you know, Fujita, he was being the frame, and she was the flower. He sacrificed his role as the lead to make her shine and stand out. And that was the only way she won. It was thanks to her standing out in that one dance that caused her to get the award she got at the end, and was able to be better than Shizuku. It was thanks to Fujita. And what this meant is that Fujita sacrificed his own self. I mean, he gave up the lead role, basically. He was doing a really good job. Like, he was doing a really, really good job. But, once again, when it comes to couples, the lead is supposed to also equally be there with the partner, and you're not supposed to have it to where one is overshining the other, and that's what was going on. And he gave up that position for she can do that willingly. It wasn't like she was just trying to steal it because she was just a better person overall at dancing. It was thanks to Fujita's lead and willing to allow her to shine that made it to where she was just so impressive. So, both of these, you know, people, for instance, Mako and Fujita, the only reason why she won was thanks to both of them working together. So that is a good thing to note, that Fujita is a really good lead. He has a lot to work on, but he is still a very good lead. And it was something very special to do that we found out for someone to go that far for an individual and even sacrifice themselves and sacrifice points or actually winning for the sake of someone else to get this little award or stand out. It's very emotional and special. So, besides that, let's look at the entire bit with Shizuku. So, Shizuku, she has a little bit of an emotional crisis in this episode, which I really like, because Shizuku, as a character we have seen, she does have some emotion, but Shizuku's kind of like a brick wall. She doesn't really show a lot of emotions. You really don't know what she is thinking, and it can make you not really, like, appreciate her character completely because of her personality. And it's nice to see a different side of her that shows that she does have a lot of emotions underneath and a lot of things do affect her, especially when she's sitting in the bathroom and all that and you see how she's really upset because she lost and she realized that Mako beat her. That was nice. That was a really nice scene just to show her weakness, but also she has a lot to improve on. I was really happy with that scene and satisfied just to see some development going on there with her. So, with all that being said, we are introduced to a new girl at the end of the episode. Now, no name is given, but it's obvious that this new girl is probably going to be the main partner to Fujita. Now, like I said, I'm anime only, but I'm just assuming. I'm just assuming because, yeah. She was at the end of the episode, she smiled and all that when Fuji was there, she had red hair, she had like a ponytail, and I'm going to assume she's going to be on big focus in the next arc. Probably next episode we'll get introduced to her, so I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this character is and seeing why many are telling me she's better than Mako. If she's better than Mako, I don't know how she can be, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how her character is. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much, please be safe, Chibi out.